Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, mixed with some Am I the Butthole as well, probably. And if you do love these types of stories, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And do not forget, it's Pet Tax Tuesday, where we share pictures of your pets. So you can send me yours over on Twitter at Narrations with a hashtag Pet Tax Tuesday. So you allow me to use your photos if you choose for them to be shared. I gotta say, it's becoming fast. It's becoming one of my favorite days of the week very quickly. And with that being said, let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from Throwaway Jenners, who says, my husband and I are in a disagreement, in desperate need for different opinions. Good afternoon. For context, I am 34. My husband is 37. He has a brother, Brad, who is 25. Brad dated Kelsey, 24, for 10 years. They began dating when they were freshmen in high school. Their first date was actually my wedding. They were engaged for 2 years before Kelsey found out that Brad had cheated on her multiple times the year before and was still in contact and sending lewd texts to the woman he cheated on her with. This all came out about 4 weeks ago. The entire family was devastated and furious with Brad, who told Kelsey she could have the apartment and moved in with a friend over an hour and a half away. I think he just wanted to be far away from everything. It was weird because Kelsey was part of the family for so long, it was hard to just turn that off. And obviously we didn't. She's going through a really traumatic time and needs support. Even so, I think it does reach a point where the family has to separate from her, since the only connecting thing, Kelsey and Brad's relationship, is now gone. My husband, however, seems to think that since he's regarding Kelsey as a little sister for so long, she should be treated as such. I come home multiple times a week to her over the house. When I ask my husband about it, he says he'll text her and ask her how she's feeling, and if she says she's feeling down, he'll invite her over to cheer her up. A few nights ago she was over, and while I was putting the kids to bed, my husband offered her a drink and they began drinking downstairs at the bar in our den. I had a medical procedure the next morning. Nothing that was a big deal, but something I was supposed to be up and out early for. I didn't need my husband to come with me or anything, but I had mentioned that I would have liked if he would. He ended up offering the guest room to Kelsey, who was up and out early, and then slept in until an hour after I come home. He has TikTok and just follows her, and a few other big accounts, but she's the only one he follows personally. The one thing I thought he did that I thought way overstepped, and what prompted me to have a conversation with him, is that the family is going on a 2-week vacation to Belize. Pronunciation. The house is owned by my in-laws, so we go there often, and Kelsey has come many times. My husband invited her to come to this trip as well, which I think is odd since she is no longer dating Brad, who isn't coming on the vacation. When I had the conversation with my husband about how I thought he was crossing some boundaries with Kelsey, he got very defensive and said I was being heartless for wanting to just write Kelsey off. I tried to explain to him that I wasn't trying to write her off, but since she no longer had ties to the family, why would she come? If she began dating someone tomorrow, would we let her bring her new partner? My husband and I have two very opposing standpoints here, and I'm trying to come up with a way to compromise. Edit. In no way do I mean cut her off. I think our family should show her we support her and are here for her. However, I think there are boundaries. Drinking together at night, causing him to miss my procedure, inviting her to vacation, being crossed. Also, to everyone who seems to have an issue with me thinking she will need to be distanced from the family. How do you think my brother-in-law and any other future partners of his will feel about her joining in on family vacations? Again, I think she is a lovely girl and I will enjoy remaining on friendly terms with her. Now, I know OP said that they didn't mean cut them off, but they also said the family distancing themselves from her. And I don't think that should be 100% the case. I mean, Kelsey has been around the family for 10 years now before she was cheated on. So I imagine there's a lot of close connections within the family. However, I do feel this particular relationship is overstepping boundaries. The fact that he didn't prioritize you with your medical procedure, albeit not a huge procedure, you would still have liked him there, but he prioritized her over you, which was weird to me. Inviting her over in the evening and drinking till late at night and offering her a place to stay. I gotta say, there's little worries there for me about what's going on. And I think supporting is one thing, but the boundaries are being crossed at this moment. But also going, on a family trip like that now I feel it is too much. Whilst you can have a connection like as friends still and not cut her off completely from the family, but bringing her on family vacations, the drinking at night, everything combined is just way too much for me. But something clever 70 says, the closeness is weird to me too, especially staying up late drinking and her staying over. But even more to the point, keeping Kelsey this close doesn't help Kelsey either. She is hurting, yes, but spending more time with her ex's family isn't going to help her through the emotional tear of the breakup. It just keeps her mentally and emotionally invested in family that isn't hers. You don't have to be mean to her, but you don't bring her on vacations either. Jen says, okay, there's room for compromise. No one needs to boot Kelsey out of the family that she's been a part of for 10 years. However, your husband does need to make you and the kids a priority. So there's no reason for Kelsey not to be included in things, but when you tell your husband you need him to be available to you for things like your medical procedure, then he needs to be there. Morinaro replies that saying he's giving too much personal emotional support. Having her over constantly without asking his wife, prioritizing hanging out with her over his family. Like, yes, she's going through a hard time, but has he considered that maybe Kelsey will eventually want or need distance from this family if Brad is going to stay in contact? Making themselves her primary source of emotional support instead of her own friends or family is dangerous. Now she is trapped near Brad when she should be using this opportunity to find new things. What are they going to do when she dates and maybe marries someone else? Are they going to forever assert they are family? Are they willing to eventually have to pick between Kelsey and Brad? Kelsey deserves better than a family that is strongly split between her and someone who cheated on her. Family support is fine. Tex and being in her corner is fine, but she's not his little sister, and this incident seems to have increased husband's relationship with Kelsey. It should remain the same amount of support as it was. No more home visits, but coming along on family vacations and group meals sounds fine to me. Mundane Report says, I really hope this is a case of a close 10-year-long brother-sister sibling bond where he's simply trying to be there to support someone he sees as a younger sibling who's been deeply hurt. Because otherwise it's a very icky case of a nearly 40-year-old man who has known this girl since the start of your marriage, quickly moving in on her as she reels from the emotional pain and making you uncomfortable because he has a crush. So one more from Vanilla Cookie Monster who says this feels wrong. 1. Tell husband that even if Kelsey comes on vacation with the family, he needs to be aware that this is a vacation for you, him and your kids. He will not be spending time with Kelsey. During the vacation, she can get emotional support from family members other than him. 2. Let the in-laws who own the vacation spot know he invited her. If not, mention it to them. Are you aware of X? It seems a little weird since she needs to build her own support system. 3. Tell husband that effective immediately she will not be over at your house solo drinking with him. They are not drinking buddies and it is inappropriate that he is spending so much alone time with her. Frankly, I would be telling him that it is creepy as fuck that he's latching onto his younger brother's ex and he has a family and it is time to let her go. He has already given her enough of his time and energy. 4. Next time she is over, go downstairs and sit the fuck down with them. Don't leave until she does. If he offers that she stay overnight again, then in the morning I would fucking disassemble the bed or at least pack away all the bedding and tell them that the sleepover game is done. I would also go down at 9 to 10 PM and suggest that it is time for our family to be going to bed soon. Do you want a cup of coffee before you drive home or take an Uber? Shut this shit down. So then OP did update the post which says, I'm going to make this short. I'm updating because of all the messages I got asking me for one. Like I stated many times in my last post. Many times, though, a number of people were still attacking me as though I wanted to banish her from speaking to any of us. I thought Kelsey was a lovely girl and didn't want to completely cut her off, just establish appropriate boundaries. My mother-in-law found out my husband invited Kelsey. Normally this wouldn't be an issue since the house is large enough to accommodate several more people. And to be fair, this wouldn't be the first time someone invited someone on behalf of the family. The issue was my mother-in-law had been speaking to Brad, my brother-in-law, and trying to convince him to come and he eventually caved and said he had come. My mother-in-law flat out said Kelsey can't come. Why would she even want to? It would be too weird for her or Brad. So my husband came home and told me all this, and then tells me conveniently he's going to have to come to Belize a week later because of work. He'd meet me and the kids there. I'm not going to get into details because it got really personal, but it wasn't hard to find out that was a lie, and he was planning on hanging out with Kelsey those days. This lie was the last straw, so I asked to see his phone. I looked through all of his messages on socials and I found a number of flirty texts with Kelsey, as well as some photos that weren't nudes or anything but definitely suggestive. He said he hadn't realized how quickly things got out of hand and that he would never have physically cheated. I don't believe that he hasn't already. I'm not really one for second chances, so I can't see this going much further. Although I'm not making any permanently rash decisions until I've had time to clear my head and get everything in order. And of course the comments absolutely exploded on that one and said, divorce, get a lawyer, etc. You're being trickle truth. This is just the beginning of what you're going to find out. Also talking about Kelsey, you know, she was just been cheated on herself and now has also added that pain to someone else. Like, how could she be doing that? And I'm always just surprised by the audacity of some people in some of these stories that we've read, that they're doing this in OP's family home, pretty much in front of her. Plan to stay back from a week of family trip to spend time with Kelsey. Ah, dearie, dearie me. And it makes me feel like shit because in the original part, I'm like, yeah, maybe, you know, emotional support and keeping her in the family is absolutely fine. And I was all for that. But then after you read the update, you're like, ah, bloody hell. And obviously there could have been a different outcome to this, but it is what it is, right? And it also made me cast my mind back to the first post when, you know, you had a conversation with your husband and you said you thought he was crossing some boundaries and he got defensive about it and said you was being heartless for wanting to just write Kelsey off, already knowing what his relationship was like with Kelsey. So he was just trying to string you along or get him what he wants from Kelsey at the same time. And Kelsey isn't innocent in this either, like I was saying. She's been through an absolute traumatic time, being cheated on herself, but now has just passed on this pain to someone else. Like we always say, trauma isn't an excuse for being an arsehole. But what do you guys make of this situation? How would you have dealt with it if you was OP? How would you have dealt with the original part? Did you think that they was overstepping boundaries? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, I saw this next post. It's a very small one, but the question itself had me questioning things. But yeah, so it's from QQSS, who says, would I be the arsehole if my spouse and I just had appetizers for our wedding guests, but a full roast chicken for ourselves at the wedding? We're trying to save money where possible for the wedding ceremony and are using Publix for the catering. My wife thinks the guests will be okay just eating finger foods such as fruit and vegetable trays, assorted cheeses, wings, chicken tenders, but she knows she'll be hungry and won't be satisfied with just those. She wants just her and I to also have a roast chicken at the table. I think some sides too. I think it would be incredibly rude to have an openly much better meal than our guests would have, us tearing apart a full bird while they munch on tenders. Conversely, I'd be perfectly fine with just the appetizers for everyone, us included. The cost for every table to get a roast chicken will put us at like $30 a plate according to her, and that's not saving money. With every decision we make, she justifies them by going, it's our wedding, it's ours, not anybody else's. She didn't want to have a wide variety of options to cater to others either. She only wanted stuff she'd like. I think we'd be total arseholes to go through with her idea. Thoughts? I've just got this vivid image in my head, this one put in there, like the head table, everyone else's tables in front of it, you know, eating their little wings and chicken tenders and stuff, and then a massive chicken on the head table with, like they said, them literally pulling it apart like some sort of medieval banquet, biting on the legs, chucking the bones to the peasants, whilst all the peasants feed on it like a pack of wolves. Oh, my head's messed up. Can you imagine doing that? How embarrassing would that be to be sitting there eating a full chicken whilst everyone's eating like finger foods? I'd be absolutely mortified. To me, yes, you're going to be the arsehole if you went that. An arsehole to yourselves as well, because how embarrassing would that be? Just eat the same foods as everybody else. But Kai says, You're the arsehole. If you're hungry, don't eat publicly when your guests have no food. Also, if you're broke, go small. Every spread says, lol, this is like the post where the couple rented official Minnie and Mickey Mouse and didn't feed their guests, and she wondered why everyone had a shit time. Of course you're the arsehole. Feed your guests. I haven't seen that story. I'm going to have to look that one up at some point. Jade Pumpkin says, you're the arsehole. That would be so rude. Plan a meal for the two of you for after the ceremony in your honeymoon room as a compromise, but I'd be so offended as a guest to show up to that. It screams gift grab. Eris replies to that saying, I've worked a lot of weddings where the bride and groom did this. Maybe your venue might even have a private room where you two can eat between the ceremony and wedding. This is popular because it's hard to eat at your wedding. I barely ate at mine because everyone wants to talk to you and congratulate you. Also, do some hearty apps. You can get finger foods that are filling. Otherwise, you're the arsehole. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this one? Could you imagine being at that wedding? Holy moly. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, this story is from Am I the Arsehole 22223, who says, Am I the arsehole for not letting my sister-in-law wear my wedding dress to prom? Ooh. I, 25 female, got married to my husband, 24 male, a year ago. He has a sister, 16 female. I went a little non-traditional with my dress. I got a big light yellow dress and a beautiful strappy top with lace. The dress was gorgeous and of course very expensive. This was definitely my dream dress. His family isn't particularly well off, but they're certainly not poor or lower income. So when they told me at a family dinner that they were having trouble finding an affordable dress for her, I was a little surprised but gave suggestions looking at eBay, Goodwill's website, etc. In my younger days I did pageants and we always resold the dress at a good discount. They told me they looked but didn't find anything they like. I told them I hope the dress would come up soon. 2 weeks passed and we get invited to dinner again at their house. We show up and immediately his sister starts moping. I assume that she's had a bad day at school and sits down to eat. Then my mother-in-law explained to me that she was upset because prom was in 3 days and she still had no dress. I expressed my condolences and told her that I could maybe help her have some last looks around. That's when mother-in-law said, oh, I have an idea. My name, why don't you let sister-in-law wear your yellow dress? I could probably get it tailored in time. My sister-in-law immediately perked up and I felt like I was ambushed. I looked to my husband, but he just shrugged. I politely told him that I was sorry, but the dress was very special to me, and also sister-in-law and I are quite different sizes. It would fall off her. Mother-in-law then told me she knows a wonderful seamstress who can make it fit, which really upset me. I asked her, what if I ever want to try it on again? It wouldn't fit me. Even if I lost weight, my bust would never fit in a dress tailored to fit her. Sister-in-law ended up bursting into tears. I'm not sure if it was because me saying no or me talking about our bodies. My husband and I ended up leaving early. He was very upset with me for not sharing the dress, but said ultimately it was my decision. His family, on the other hand, was livid with me. They went radio silent until I saw a post of sister-in-law on Facebook in a beautiful blue dress. I commented saying I'm glad she got a dress, she looked great and I hope she had a good time. And I got a comment back asking me for my portion of the dress. They have now told my husband I am responsible for either reselling the dress and getting them half back since I have experience with that, or help pay for half. I told him that was ridiculous, but my husband told me to just do it. I told him I'm not going to be pushed over, and he ended up leaving for 3 days to his mum's. What the hell? Now I am no longer invited to family dinners or functions, and they only have nasty things to say about me, saying I almost ruined her prom night. Am I the arsehole? Should I have just let her wear the dress, or at the very least help them sell it? At this point, since my husband isn't even on my side, I don't know. Edit, I tried to talk to mother-in-law after getting some confidence from these comments. Basically, she brushed it all off, still demanded I do what she told me to either sell it or help pay for it, because I'm family, and that's what family does. But also, she would have looked much better in it than I did, and that I just didn't let her have the dress out of jealousy. I am honestly speechless right now. The absolute entitlement of this post, thinking that they can take your wedding dress to wear as a prom dress, have it retailored that won't fit you anymore, I know many people that store their wedding dresses and keep them for, I don't know, forever. And would never part with a wedding dress. And even if it wasn't a wedding dress, even if it was just another dress, it's your property. You don't have to give it to anyone. And the fact that they ambushed you over this, invited you round, and then, done all this stuff is disgusting. And then trying to get you to pay for it afterwards. Who thinks like that? But in terms of the family itself, where the bloody hell do you go with this one? Your husband ended up leaving for 3 days to his mum's because of this issue. That's super worrying to me. But John Draper says, not the arsehole at all. Even if it wasn't your wedding dress, it's still your dress and you have no obligation to even loan it out, much less give it away permanently. It makes sense to feel weird because no one is on your side, but it's one-sided because it's entirely his family and they clearly have issues. If his solution to them being upset is just give them what they want, and his solution to himself being upset is to run away to mum's for 3 days, these are some serious red flags and you might reconsider your future plans with this dude. Tosser says, great name, not the arsehole, and wow. Who asked to wear someone else's wedding dress to a prom, for fuck's sake? Your sister-in-law, mother-in-law, and husband need a ruddy reality check. They not only ambushed you, they're all punishing you for refusing to be ambushed. You're owed apologies from all of them. Baobab says, not the arsehole, and please take note of your husband's actions. These are clearly early warning signs of how he behaved till death do us part. Regardless of your vows, you are not his priority. He is still an advocate and protector of his family of origin, and you and your boundaries are second to theirs. Honestly, I'd probably never set up a joint account with someone who leaves when you choose not to acquiesce to their family's manipulation. They will drain the account to please them and leave you with nothing. Always have a secret stash/account. And Melody Rain says, not the arsehole, they tried to destroy your wedding dress to save themselves money on a prom dress, and now plan B is making you foot the bill because they didn't want to be bothered to shop like the rest of the world. Tell your husband that if he's going to twist your arm about this, he will be just as much of an arsehole as the one that shit him out. Metaphorically speaking. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know what you would do in this situation. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. And don't forget, if you'd like your pets featured in Pet Tax Tuesday, and don't forget to message me at Narrations over on Twitter with the hashtag Pet Tax Tuesday. Get involved over there. Always love to see it. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today